Good afternoon, Tom Johnson, along with our mayor, Alex Rounaghi. Another week of fair game Laguna. Alex, Mayor, good to see you,
Good to see you, Tom. It's always nice to have a 4-day week.
isn't it? I know they don't pay us to cram everything into 4 days, but that's what we're forced to do. Listen, I know you're up for a busy time. We're celebrating the 100th anniversary of our water district. I believe you're the keynote speaker. What are you going to talk about? Tell us about the whole issue.
Yeah, so in 1925, the Laguna Beach County Water District was formed, and I spoke about this during my State of the City address, but it's a funny story where we don't have groundwater under us in Laguna Beach like they have in Orange County. And so the only way for us to get access to a water supply, and as you know, water is critical to a city being formed, um, was for us to pretend a group of five people formed a committee pretending to be duck hunters, and what they did was they went duck hunting in Huntington Beach, but what they were actually doing was securing access to the groundwater basin by purchasing land in Huntington Beach. And that was basically what allowed the city of Laguna Beach to become what it is because they had access to groundwater. The funny thing about that story is that there was a bond that was had to be passed to pay for all this infrastructure. And this guy, Gabby Cravath, who was a professional baseball player, a day before on the night before the vote, he basically put a lot of very poor quality water into the system that was disgusting. And so everyone woke up the next day to vote and they had this, horrible quality water. And then so it was unsurprisingly a unanimous vote for approval of the bond. And the funny joke here is that it's the last time that everyone in Laguna Beach agreed on something.
That's right.
And what I think is cool about that story, though, is really how we go forward. And as we approach our 100th year anniversary of the water district, right now we are reliant on 100% imported water, meaning our water comes from the Colorado River or the Northern California Water Project. That is not a good place to be. Metropolitan Water District is raising their rates at a very fast pace. And so we want local water reliability. And what we are doing now is we are working with, the good thing about water rights in California is once you get them, you can't lose them. And so since we had access to the groundwater basin in 1925, we are leveraging those rights now, and we are working with the city of Newport Beach. We purchased land in Fountain Valley, and we're almost through the entitlement process that'll allow us to build a well that will provide two-thirds of the water for the Laguna Beach County Water District. We're also working with South Coast Water District on a desalination project at Doheny. And so we're going to go from 100%, imported water to 100% local water reliability over the next 5 to 10 years. That's very exciting. And as we think about, the past 100 years of the water district, what I'm proud of is that as a, board of directors and as a, a district and as a city, and we are working in a way where the next 100 years we should have local water reliability. So I'm very proud of that and looking forward to, celebrating those 100 years tonight at the Rivian Theater.
It also reminds us, thank goodness for such great pioneers
Yes,
with such forethought to figure out how this would, transpire all of our lives.
exactly.
So good
You
stuff.
think I think about that a lot actually. So yes.
Yeah, and you know what? Hopefully, 100 years from now, somebody will look back and say, we had a mayor back in Laguna Beach back in, 20, you never know,
You know.
2025 that did something special. So that's the kind of value you bring to the city.
Well,
Anyway,
and Tom, they'll cite the column that you wrote during the first Village Laguna debate in 2022 when there was about this 24-year-old who, in the first debate. So,
yes, and I'm glad to see you've grown into your ability. Listen, um, George Weiss, former city council member, last week penned a letter trying to get a petition circulated to change the plans of the promenade. Thoughts on that? Status on where we are with the promenade? What's
yeah.
next? And all that?
Yeah, so the promenade will be considered at one of our June meetings, basically all the aspects of it, and I am very much looking forward to it. It was appealed to by the decision by the Planning Commission was appealed to us. The city manager waived the appeal fee, and I think there's probably, I mean, the reason for that is because it's a public and there's a public interest in the council weighing in on it. And I, for one, we've I think had like more than at least 7 public hearings on the promenade since I've been on the council. It's something we have debated very extensively, and there's a small group who I think is opposed to the promenade, but when I talk to residents, overwhelmingly they are in favor of the promenade. We are seeing that with our email correspondence, but really at the end of the day, what I think, when the best way to gauge the public is just to talk to people. And I talk to a wide range of people, not just people, in different groups. I talk to everyone. And so it's a very popular issue. And I think it's something that's critical for our downtown to have a pedestrian oriented promenade. And it's funny, I was with a Malibu council member, and I spoke about that, I think on our last podcast, and she was so excited about the idea. She was like, wow, this looks great. So I think when I talk to people around the county as well, it's something that I hope we can be proud of, and that's also a testament to the rich history of our town and the visionaries who've made our town what it is. And I think it's really fulfilling the vision of people who wanted a pedestrian to oriented town. And so I'm looking forward to hearing all the evidence and weighing the testimony on the promenade when we consider that at our meeting in June.
Perfect. I'm actually excited about it. I think it bodes well for the community. I think it, changes the dynamics, and maybe that's that story 100 years from now, where somebody comes back and says, "Here were the people that made that happen." Anyway, we'll be anxious to follow that down. I'll tell you, tragedy struck this community the other day, and it was extremely sad. Monday, a young lady a girl from Laguna Beach, driving with her driver's permit. Her dad seemed to be doing everything right. It's unfortunate
Yep.
taking her to drive around the old Gelson's parking lot for, to learn her driving techniques and things like that. And then tragedy struck. Your thoughts on that whole thing?
I mean, my thoughts are just what a horrible thing. When the city manager called me to inform me about this, I found it's just devastating. There's no other way to put it. And just a horrible thing. I'm thinking about the family. I'm thinking about the girl as my understanding is that she's in critical condition. I haven't had an update over the last day, so I don't know. But it's just a horrible situation. And yeah, I have there's nothing to say but what a tragedy.
Just a tragedy. Listen, last weekend was kind of the early start to summer. Summer
Yeah.
doesn't come in for about another 20 plus days, but it was our first kind of taste of crowds, all of that. What happened? What did it look like in hindsight? And what are we doing going forward?
Yeah, so I think we are increasing our enforcement, and I believe the city manager is putting out some things soon that's outlining our exact plan of action. But we are trying to surge, our resources in terms of trash, our enforcement in terms of our park rangers, and parking enforcement. Parking enforcement is something that I think we really need to do better at as a city, including more parking meters throughout town, so that when people are going to the beach, that they're paying for it, and that we can use that money to put into enforcement and other resources to support residents. We also are moving forward with a Google Ads and Meta Ads campaign starting today through August with 4 messages: no smoking, no littering, no alcohol on the beaches, and no loud exhaust. And so these ads will be displayed on Google and Meta, Facebook platforms. Meta is such a horrible name. It doesn't make, I always forget what it means. In Orange County, Monday through Friday, and the big push in Laguna Beach on the weekend. So we're really going and hitting this on all cylinders to try to educate that Laguna Beach is not the place for people to come and break the law. And then we need enforcement to follow up on that. And because it's important for everyone, including for residents and including visitors, that people are able to have a safe, peaceful time in our community, and that we don't have people who are doing things like smoking and littering and abusing the natural environment, which is what attracts us all to live in Laguna Beach and for visitors to want to visit Laguna Beach.
I mean, the message is fairly simple. It's we've got a great city here, little town, and we understand that people are going to come in and enjoy it. Just respect it. That's
Yep.
what we want them to do. Mayor, you do such a great job. We appreciate you taking your time with us every week. Knock 'em dead at the speech with the what are 100 years, and we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good, Tom. Thank you.